for our friends at home, we're going to see some great magic. We don't recommend or believe you should use any of these presentations. In fact, we think you should denude it of all of its creepiness and really just stick with the good magic stuff. However, we've got a Scott York drinking game. As you know, here in the club, we say we tap ones when we're applauding and laughing and stuff like that, because in space, like the internet, no one can hear you scream. But we've got an extra little component for those live friends joining us today. It's a Scotty York drinking game. So anytime Scotty York says something vulgar, chauvinistic, or just slimy, right? You take a drink. Now, today we're adding something new. I've got a bubble drink and something a little more opaque, so that we can, if it's just basic innuendo, because Scott will leer and make ordinary things creepy. I think that's a 1D. That's a 1D drink. That's a bubble drink. If, however, he's written it in, if it's a patter line where the creepiness and the lecherousness is baked into the presentation, or for some reason it reaches to a whole new layer, I think that's when we break out the hard stuff and we do a double D drink, right? DD. So that stops us from the ability just to go D, 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 D. But, say what you will. We'll know what you mean from what you tap, right? And I'll try and give an indication as to where I'm at when I'm drinking. Any thoughts before we get started? The magic is so good, you know what I mean? It's just such a shame we could never play it without recognizing how just grossly inappropriate it would be to share with anyone that you
and Alex, this first one isn't the worst either, right? This first one.
No, this I try to set it up so that there's a nice intro and we can slowly ease our way into this. The first one is just, I think, mostly a beautiful piece of magic. There might be a couple of things that slipped in that I might have forgotten about, but after that, yeah, you are moving into the ground that we're speaking of, and tread at your own risk.
Here we go.
Oh, look at that style he cuts. Look at that old-timey bar magic.
Do you really? What kind?
Blackjack?
Blackjack. Well, we'll start there later. Okay, but you can shuffle, right? Yeah. Good. Shuffle those up for me. She does do that well. What was your name again, Michelle?
Michelle.
I knew that. You girls are going to make this easy to remember. Okay, that's about enough. Put them down there. Would you give them a cut for me? You can complete the cut. Great. I'm going to cut you the trick, do a couple of simple tricks with just 4 cards, okay? Well, on the way to the luckiest night of my life. We'll call that card number 1. We'll call that card number 2. We'll call that card number 3.
The whole way.
The fourth one's the hard one. You know why? No pun intended. No, there's fewer aces in the deck to find. That's why I sometimes miss. It doesn't.
That was a bubble drink. That was definitely
a bubble drink. That was definitely innuendo. That was not.
That was now we'll do the hard one, right? That was definitely, ladies and gentlemen, that was a dick joke. Just in case.
Making a difference. I always get a joke. Jokers are wild. See, they look just about like aces. Just when I need them the most. 4 aces.
Oh, that's good though. That was good.
That was great. So that was the old FT cut.
The whole way through. Whole way through. Yep.
That's a wonderful one. I can even run everyone through that super fast if you want. You hold the cards right there, third finger in your thumb. You lift off one packet, right? Just like that. One of the things I've found is makes this easier. You lift up the next packet. Don't lift it up too high and don't try and kick it out too far. Don't change the angle. Try and bend your wrist so that the top packet stays the same angle as the bottom packet. It's easier that way. Clamp down lightly, and as you come out to the right, you keep that pinky break. Now, as you come back, after you come out, you switch with your first finger. So when you come back, you grab with your third finger and your thumb, and you do a packet switch like that. Then you throw those on top, then you swivel out like that, and you've got that card. So when it looks top speed, it looks really incredible. Isn't that nice? He does the whole thing with that.
Yeah, that looked really nice.
it's beautiful, you know. And honestly, I've been doing an ace cutting just that way for so long, right up to and including a double lift at the end, but not that modern double lift. Oy vey. Oh, that
He
double
definitely
lift
has his
made
own
that.
sort of techniques on all of the stuff. And he said, in some of the stuff, it's real cozy, but he says, the reason I do it that way is because I can pick up any deck, even one that had beer spilled all over it. I can still do the move with that deck of cards.
Which, of course, is a fundamental concept from anyone who studied with Frank Thompson at the gaming table, right? Because you can't count in a private game where there's all kinds of shenanigans going on when you're playing cards not being dog-eared and covered in beer and pus and teeth and corn and fleas and hair and eyeballs, you know, all kinds of stuff. What a great trick. Want to see another?
Yes.
This time, let's see one that's real hard. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
Get that mug ready.
Mm-hmm.
Wide.
Card in drink.
Okay, take out 3 cards.
She seems so innocent.
You take out 2 while she's taking out 3. Don't ask me why. 2's on my mind.
Hey.
Yeah, you can look at him. You can look at him. You weren't a
Dude,
brown
what
eye.
is mine?
Okay. Now, I'm not going to look because we're not married yet, okay? Take one of those 2 cards and just like,
One of these two.
yeah, just down into the, it doesn't have to go way in the cup, but
I have a problem
Perfect.
with that, though, you know.
perfect, okay. And then take your cards and just sit on them, okay? Put them on, put them under the cheeks, okay? I'm just trying to get them warm, not wet, okay. Now
Oh,
put
Paul's
one
right
card
there.
One card there.
Oh. Now we've seen Tom Mullica. We've seen all the classic. They do cheek to cheek, right? Cheek to cheek. You sit on the cards. You sit on the cards. They travel from here to there. When you watch Tom Mullica do it, it ain't dirty.
No, it's all in your own mind.
It's you sit
That
on
was
it.
not.
At one point, Tom Mullica says, "Which cheek is it on?" And they'll go, "Left one." And he goes, "All right, from your left cheek to your right cheek." And there's nothing creepy about it. That stuff there was what he said and how he said it. Am I right? I mean, I feel I'm going to take a quick shower, then we'll come back with the next page. All right, just checking it out.
You can see why I resisted trying to bring a clip like this in.
Yeah. That is the one bottle down. Okay, yeah, one bottle down.
Not wet. Okay. Now put one card there, one card there.
Oh, the 80s.
Okay, good. We're doing card tricks. We haven't even done the rabbit out of the hat trick yet. Anybody interested in that? Yeah. I can do that trick. We'll get this one out of the way. Hey, I call him Thumper. Come on. I can tell this is not the crowd for you, Thumper. Sorry, maybe you guys would like Beavis and Butthead better. We do him too. Okay, let's see. 2 cards. Which one shall I do first?
That one.
That one over there, we'll call that card number 1. Okay. And here's the IG, Michelle. Okay. I'm going to take the card and I'm going to try and put it in the deck at the exact location that you just think of. Okay. So, like for example, I want you to think of any number, say between 10 and 20. Okay. Between 10 and 20. Then I'll try and read your mind. Figure out what the number is, take your card, stick it in the deck at that exact position. In other words, if you think of 15, that's where the card will be, okay? Now think of another number, okay? Don't tell me this time, okay? You can tell me when I'm getting close. That's all right, I don't need any help. I think I've got it. I think I've got it. Okay, now
right.
I'm committed. I'm committed, okay?
That
So for the
weird
first
side
time,
step.
tell me the number you're just thinking of. Take the deck in your hands. Right. Right down there, deal down 14 cards right there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Stop. What was the name of your card?
Card number 1.
Card number 1. No, which one was it? 4 diamonds. No? Wasn't the 4 diamonds? No, what was it? What was it really?
It's a 3 of spades.
No, it couldn't be the 3 of spades. Show me the 3 of spades. I'll believe you. You know, I couldn't be the 3 of spades. We only serve it in drinks, honey. Yours is in your drink. Take it out of there. Did she get it? The drink, I mean? Yeah, hold it up so everybody can see. Don't.
That was really interesting, right? Because you could almost feel that Scotty, the effect was important to him. And he literally restrained himself for long enough not to step on that effect at the very end. Like he did a pretty long ramp up, right? He did the 2 bits with the rabbit and Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
And he literally kept disciplined long enough to follow the effect right on through to the point where it was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nice, actually. It was good.
It's solid, and you don't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. I think that's a really stellar effect. You know, you don't think that someone's going to put a card in your wine glass. You know,
I forget the fellow that, you know, because Valentine does a version with a folded card in a glass.
yeah.
The similar thing. And then there's a version, I think, with a ripped up piece that's in the Schulian book, right? So it's this wonderful, wonderful thing. Absolutely wonderful. What a great trick. And you know, he did that weird Scotty York side steal he used to do. I just remembered it growing up, you know, where he takes the card and he sticks it in like that. Right? And then he comes out from there direct, right? And goes right into his folding. Interesting.
It's weird, but it looked pretty good, huh?
Yeah, Scotty York, like I say, some of his besties at that time, because of the stuff he could make, were some of the greatest sleight-of-hand guys in the world. And he got in late, and it's a very good lesson, because Scotty York never really considered himself, he was good with the coins, I think, but he never considered himself to be like a powerhouse card expert. But he did build these techniques to, you know, it's very what you would call application specific and designed to make that as easy as it could ever be. Right. So just, you know, for those of you watching, he's got his spread so that you can see, and he sticks it in. The way he's got it there is it's under, but if you look on that side, it's already out. So he's taken the hardest part of the side steal and eliminated it so he can come right out like that. Because when you're doing a real side steal, that is the hard part, right? Getting that first bit. Just interesting, you know, to see an old DC magician work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful trick, wonderful trick. All you need to do is fold the card, move a drink, and spread them, you know?
That's it. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, this is High Jumper. I haven't seen this before.
Just really interesting, that card in the drink, you know, because Paul Cummins passed just last week, and he was another fellow that was famous for his side steal. And I was just reading his card under boxes and stuff recently, and hopefully we'll get to share those with the club in the coming months.
All right, here we go.
Sure. Yes, in just a minute. God, these young girls are so impatient. You know what I mean?
I'm so sorry. You got to pause.
My God.
You got a question for the panel. Did
Yeah.
we see the beginning of Cheek to Cheek right up to a really filthy joke, and then there was nothing more about it?
No.
What happened?
So what happened was he had the girl on his left selected 2 cards that we're going to get to in a moment in the next clip after this. The first girl he had that was
Card
on
number
his right, card number 1 and card number 2. I think he's getting to card number 2 right now. And then there's the other one that she has under her shirt.
So 1, because they're not married yet, he won't look. Card number 2 is inside the brassiere.
Card number 2 is still on the table. He did card number 1 into the glass. Card number 2, I think, is still on the table. And I did cut it out because I didn't think it was necessary to put it in, and I can just say it in, 5 seconds. When she took the card out of the glass, he made some joke about the glass being unsanitary, and I better take care of this, and he downs all the wine. And then he puts the glass on the table, and that girl just asked, I have a question. Can I get another wine? Because you drank my wine. And she's like, oh, I got it. And the girl's going to bring out another wine to her. So that's what happened.
Okay, so there isn't currently a playing card inside the shirt of one of the ladies?
No, she still has the card in her shirt. And the card number 2 is still on the mat if you look there. Card number 1 just ended up in the glass. Card number 2 is on the mat. Card number 3 is in her shirt. And the other
there's 3
on
cards.
the other 2 cards.
Oh, there's 2 cards being sat on.
That's correct.
Oh, so many cards. Okay.
There's 5 cards in the beginning.
Right. Because 2 was on my mind. Got it.
Yep.
Yes, in just a minute. God, these young girls are so impatient. You know what I mean? My God.
That's 1.
All right, but first we got to do
Soft drink.
card number 2. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me have your cheap seats. Okay. Okay. Let me have your right hand palm upwards right there. Okay. Your ring finger. Can you wiggle like that?
Oy vey.
Oh, you did that pretty well. Don't have a steady boyfriend, huh? Okay.
That's a super dirty.
That's super dirty.
Super dirty. That joke was the shocker.
That's
Thank
right.
you. This is our lovely maitre d'. Okay, now here's what I want you to do. Okay, I'm going to take the card, put it into the deck, put your hand out there, get that finger wiggling. All I want you to do is tickle the palm of my hand. Okay, this is just a card trick, okay? Tickle the palm of my hand, say, Scotty, get it up, Scotty, get up, just a card trick. Yeah, easy for you to say, honey.
Super hard drink.
Did we
That's
get it?
super hard.
Super hard drink.
Wow.
The reason I laughed at that super dirty joke, Adam, was because when he said, get that finger up, is when he did that side steal again. And I thought, well, that's pretty good misdirection. I mean, that's literally the most distracting, awful thing I've ever heard said to a spectator to cover a move. This is the only guy I ever knew that used to literally try a move in order to cover a move. Every move a move, right? Like it's a whole new meaning. He's literally like here, right? And he's like, all right. Now, whatever your name is, get that finger up, get her wiggling. And surely enough, no one's looking at that, you know? Real misdirection.
It's so bad.
Get that finger up. I'm like, yikes.
Well on the way to the luckiest night of my life.
Rewind that just 2 seconds so that we can see that card production because we were so astonished by
This
what
is
he
our lovely
said that
maitre
we
d'.
missed the production.
Okay, now here's what I want you to do. Okay, I'm going to take the card, put it into the deck, put your hand out there, get that finger wiggling. All I want you to do is tickle the palm of my hand. Okay, this is just a card trick, okay? Tickle the palm of my hand, say, Scotty, get it up, Scotty, get up, just a card trick.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, easy for you to say, honey. Did we get it? Well on the way to the luckiest night of
It
my
was
life.
so dirty that he was literally able to do all of this over here. And no one cared because just the literal thing that was happening was so wrong. You know, it's like literally you could wreck your car if that was happening on the side of the road when it happened. So by the time you look up, you've heard a snap. There's a card in midair simply because you were doing this beforehand. Oh yeah, it's in the middle of the air. Caught it. Hey, that's mine as well.
Wow, what a great trick. Oh man.
There's an interesting thing here for all those that are interested in the magic bar concept. You know, I used to say to Eric Mead, he was kind of like the Grateful Dead, the widespread panic of like magic because of bar magic. Think about it. This dude had 5 cards selected. 2 were under these people's tuchuses. 1 was inside this person's shirt. Is there any way that these drunk people can possibly remember what has happened, where or how, or what's going on? They can't possibly, right? And this is kind of how it is at the big improvisational rock show when you are surprised to realize what song the band has been playing for the last 25 minutes. You're spinning around, you're having a great time. By the time the melody comes back, you're like, right, this is the song we're still playing. I thought it'd been like 2 hours. And this is totally what's happening here. You know, you get 3 different lines going, 5 different cards picked, 3 over here, 2 are in the plant. They start falling out of the sky. You got no idea where they came from, if they were picked tonight. It's stacking up on top of the dick jokes and the drinks, you know, and the rattler, you know.
Get that finger up. Get that finger going.
Can you imagine the bits Scott would have done if they'd been selling Viagra in those days?
No, I cannot imagine.
Can you imagine? So it's just an interesting way of doing it. You know what I mean? We talked about this with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, right, Adam?
Yep.
Like how many trains can you set up in the first half before you can crash them? You know, you set them all up for an hour, you set up trains, and then for the second hour, you watch trains crash. It's the traditional farce setup, Marx Brothers, all of that good stuff. Fascinating stuff.
Totally.
I just love watching old timey dirty magic.
I'm interested to see how he handles card warp because I mean it's got some, it's got places to go, right?
Now that we watched some of this, I got to tell you, I sat with my mother, I'll say it again, in the front row of the Scotty York Magic Bar in Washington, D.C., and he wiggled his ass on over and said, "Hey there, sweetheart." And he did those lines to my mom.
Do you make your mom wiggle her finger?
I have no idea, but I was so enamored by this great magician, and my mother was being so supportive of my magic that I just don't know how I looked at it at the time, but surely I began to look at it differently as the years passed.
What did she say when you got in the car? Like when you got in the car to go home, did she
My
say,
mom-
"I don't really want you hanging around with that guy"?
No, my mom was always kind of astonished at how non-Jewish people drink, She'd be like, "Ooh, those people were drinking." Because we had that kind of house where you'd have a liquor cabinet and the same bottles were in it. Like, so when I went to go steal out of the liquor cabinet when I was 13, it was a problem because the seals weren't broken on anything. The same bottles given to my parents, for their wedding, right?
Did they mark the expensive liquor with the little black pin so they knew where it
No,
was
they
at?
never opened them.
Some of that started after, I started to tell my first tier 1 bad lies and they didn't have proof. But, I remember I decided to raid the schnapps a row back because it seemed less likely to get caught, All I'm saying is my mother was always astonished because she couldn't believe how much Scotty was drinking. She couldn't believe how much people would drink him when they went out to bars to drink. Then I took her out to dinner with Simon Lovell. And she couldn't believe how much he drank. Now, of course, we're not just talking about drinking people. We're talking about
These are
world-renowned magic alcoholics.
Totally.
These people have known to have lost marriages, and these are real alcoholic folks. So she was just astonished. She didn't, she couldn't believe it. Simon told her that he was in, MI6, right? I've told this story before. My mother, Simon Lovell, told us at dinner, and I didn't know. I just thought that, he could do the pass. Well, he wasn't lying about that. She told my mother that she was in the RAF, and the movie The Wild Geese, the character played by Roger Moore, was based on him. And then he used words like Sandhurst, which I didn't know, to as his bona fides. Oh yeah, well I graduated Sandhurst first in my class, as a naval aviator / counter espionage, counterintelligence officer,
And so when your mom's sitting at dinner and Simon's telling this story, is your mom like, "Well, he's having a cocktail, I'll have a cocktail," and is she like loosening up too? So it's like all work. Yeah, right on.
Absolutely. Look, he was wonderful. Look, we had a great time. It was wonderful. He shared lots of magic with me. He was nice to my mom. She thought he was charming, but that's what really happened, But unlike Simon didn't mac on my mother. Scotty
Macked on your mother.
But let's go back. Let's go back a second to Adam's original question. You get in the car, you just went to the bar, you see Scotty. What does mom say to you after you saw the Scotty York Magic Show?
She was not offended. Look, I have to say, when we talk about cultural stuff, a lot of women in my mother's generation, they grew up with that nonsense. It was too normal to them. It was too normal to her to make a remark. Like when we see these ladies in the bar, sometimes they're doing this and they're laughing, they're smiling. If they're offended, it's too normal. It's too commonplace and everyday. It's just a different time. It wasn't cool, but I don't think it registered to her as
That
I
guy
think
was
it
a
registered.
dirty old man.
Yeah, she grew up in the 60s. It's like the Mad Men, that
Right,
TV
right.
show,
Oh, he was funny. He was funny with all those jokes.
Yeah, she was just happy we were hanging out, But I'll tell you what, it was far out.
Dude, my mother was telling me a story last night about her you know, back one of her very first jobs as a babysitter. And, you know, this is way back. This is 55, 60 years ago. But she was saying that the guy who wanted to hire her and pay her a lot of money to babysit also wanted to pat her on the rear end and touch her inappropriately. And that those were things that were openly like discussed about employers, you know, like, oh, you're going to get a job with this guy. Oh, he pays pretty well, but just be aware he's going to be very lecherous, you know. And it was openly known and discussed, but put up with in that, you know, context back then. It's amazing to me. I was like, there was, you know, who did you tell, Mom? You know, who could you tell? Who could you go report
Who could
that
you
to?
tell? Who could you tell?
Yeah. Anyway, that was a weird tangent. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Let's
do another.
Let's do another. Let's
do
watch
another.
Card Warp.
Wow. Ron Porter's mom worked with Jimmy Durante in the 50s and he'd slap her on the bum every night.
Yo.
Wow.
Newell Umfried is down up to bottle number 3. Keep it trucking, my old friend. All right.
Both cards out. Okay, hand me one, you keep one. Okay, hold your card like this. Do that. Do you know why did you do that?
No.
Good. Okay, follow directions carefully. Fold your card in half, in for in, one time and one time only. That's all I want you to do. Pay no attention to what I'm doing. I want you to hold yours in for in, one time and one time only. Good. Now, did you see what I was doing while you were folding yours in for in? I folded mine long ways or longitudinally, Michelle. That's so I can take your card and do that. Okay? Now, see if I do that, Michelle, and then if I do this, did you see what happened? Well, it turns both cards inside out, but that's not the most important thing. The important thing is it takes the card that Michelle, number 1, gave me, and it puts it inside the card that she retains. Or for just a minute, Nick, that puts me inside Michelle, no pun intended, okay? That's when the fun starts. See, look, every time.
Ding, dang, dong.
I think the pun
Grab your
was
mug.
intended. The pun was definitely intended.
I think
Nope.
you're right. Yeah.
No pun intended. What did that mean? I think what he meant is, I don't mean that as a joke. I mean, that's where I want to be, literally.
And if
Time
she
I push
says
it in,
yes,
Michelle, you
I'm gonna
turn.
go for it.
Right. Sometimes they're like, they smile back, you know?
Side out. Every time it goes, I know, it's a card that she retains. Or for just a minute, Nick, that puts me inside Michelle, no pun intended, okay? That's when the fun starts. See, look, every time I push it in, Michelle, you turn me inside out. Every time it goes, I know, it's happening.
Hey, every time I push it
I know
in,
what you're thinking, Michelle.
inside out.
You're thinking, oh, sure, he must be using more than 2 cards. No, it's just 2 cards, okay? See, but look, every time it goes into Michelle, she turns me inside out. You know what happens to me, Michelle, if I ever get caught mid-stroke?
No!
Somebody tears me in half. So you get half of me inside out, half of me outside out. That's all there is to it. I told you it was just a quickie. Remember what to do with those cards.
That was a symphony of nasty jokes.
Oh,
When I get caught mid-stroke and someone breaks me in half inside of me, half outside of you.
I don't even
That
have to repeat it. It was
told
so
you that was
nasty.
just a quickie.
Oh my gosh.
That
might,
was dirty.
that might be worth, I'm just saying, watching one more time, just because I couldn't even hardly pay attention to how great the card warp was.
Right. The
Because-
handling of the trick is beautiful, right? You
Yeah.
can't see anything and it's good. It's a good handling. But
But the jokes, whoa.
While you're watching it, since this is the last time you're going to see it, Scotty York has got one of the worst cases of magic pinky I have ever seen in my life.
that's funny.
Keep your eye on that pinky because it is flaring.
Cards out. Okay, hand me one, you keep one. Okay, hold your card like this. Do that. Do you know why did you do that?
No.
Good. Okay, follow directions carefully. Fold your card in half, in for in, one time and one time only. That's all I want you to do. Pay no attention to what I'm doing. I want you to hold yours in for in, one time and one time only. Good. Now, did you see what I was doing while you were folding yours in for in? I folded mine long ways or longitudinally, Michelle. That's so I can take your card and do that. Okay? Now see if I do that, Michelle, and then if I do this, did you see what happened? Well, it turns both cards inside out, but that's not the most important thing. The important thing is it takes the card that Michelle, number 1, gave me, and it puts it inside the card that she retains. Or for just a minute, Nick, that puts me inside Michelle, no pun intended, okay? That's when the fun starts. See, look, every time I push it in, Michelle, you turn me inside out. Every time it goes, I know, it's happening. I know what you're thinking, Michelle. You're thinking, oh, sure, he must be using more than 2 cards. No, it's just 2 cards, okay? See, but look, every time it goes into Michelle, she turns me inside out. You know what happens to me, Michelle, if I ever get caught in mid-stroke? Somebody tears me in half. So you get half of me inside out, half of me outside out. That's all there is to it. I told you it was just a quickie. Remember what to do with those cards.
You've been taking it all in good graces, but I have to tell you, that there was pornographic and offensive to the extreme.
Yeah.
Right?
Battle. You're funny, Robert.
Which part?
That's
Oh, yeah.
funny.
I'm telling you what, man, I felt Roy Walton beat that.
Yeah. Yeah, Roy
Roy's
Walton.
like, what did you do to my trick?
It's happening. It's happening. You never know what happens when I get caught mid-stroke. I've literally never heard such a nasty patter line.
Dude, the euphemism is thick. And the visual, he had visual aids to go with all of those beautiful euphemisms. Okay.
He should call that his FISM euphemism.
The FISM Euphemism Act.
His euphemism.
I have a feeling I just saw the name of this next one. It's called,
Euphemism.
I have a feeling it's not going to get any better because this next one's called.
No, remember we have 1 card left, right? Remember where it is.
Oh, okay. So this one's called the warmest card.
Is that like the proudest monkey?
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay,
This
I
is
know,
the
I
one
know.
He didn't want wet, just
You're
warm.
anxious.
I'm just curious.
Okay. All right, now with just 2 fingers, okay, like a pair of tweezers.
Oy vey.
Is that your bodice or your bodice? Well, reach down wherever it is. Hand it to me face down while it's still hot. Yeah, Nick wants to touch that card. Go ahead. See where it's been hotter than a firecracker. Don't burn your fingers. See, that makes this card the hottest card in the deck because of where it's been. That makes it easy for me to find Michelle. See, I run through the deck with these sensitive fingers, touch a few cards on the face. When I touch Michelle number 2's card again, I'll know it. It's the hottest card in the deck, okay? I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to do this fair and square, strictly by the heat. I'll take the nipple print out. Okay. Strictly.
Yikes.
All right, just for the record, William and Clay, it's definitely not all in my mind. That was definitely real.
Did you see that take of this girl's face? I mean, there's another time and another place, but they're drunk and it's taking time to process. But she was like,
Nipple print out. Okay.
There it is.
I just felt an angel die.
The lady on the left is like, what? And the lady on the right is like, oh no, he did not.
Oh,
Strictly. Did that go over your head? Okay, now remember, Michelle, this is the old trick that never fails. So don't help me with your eyes, okay? I start with a wee shuffle. That's a very small shuffle. Little bit of a shuffle, little bit of a cut. I'll turn over a card. You'll see almost instantly how easy this is, okay?
with a thumb that moist. Gotta be tacky.
See how easy that is? Cold card. No, that's a cold one. That's a cold one. Don't worry, I'll get it. It's the hottest card in the deck, okay? I'll go a little bit deeper. Now, if I get it, you don't have to tell me, okay? Because this is the old trick that never fails, okay? Another cold one, another cold one. Don't worry, I'll get it. I know what I'm doing. Let me go just a little bit deeper. I'm beginning to feel some heat coming up. Hey, listen, I'm leaning over the ice cooler, honey. This is a lot harder on me than it is on you. The Joker. No, another Colin. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing wrong, right? I can tell from your comments earlier. You're those girls that likes their men to go real deep, right in the deck. Real deep in the deck, I'll give it a deep cut. If I get it, really, would you tell me? You don't have to tell me if I get it. See, touch those fingers. Touch those fingers, Michelle. Hotter than a damn firecracker. I told you I never miss. What's the name of your card? Which one?
That's not it.
What one was it? Well, what was its name?
Oh, it's a 5 of hearts.
See, I told you I never miss. I'm sorry. No, see, sometimes those jacks look like 5. See, when they just got one eye, they're wild.
He was able to make Di Vernon's masterpiece, the fingerprint card trick, into a creepy showpiece.
Well, I feel like that was the structure of the Dunbury delusion, wasn't it? And it's a real sucker trick. And the thing we know about a trick like that, like it worked textbook, because if the audience is really looking to see you go down, that's what it takes to hook them in for that trick. Notice that if their audience isn't really looking to see you go down, you find it and then they go, wait a minute, and then they go to look. But in this case, he just said, how would it be if this was your card? He said, that's not it. You're wrong. It's there. It's the full, like, it's got all the elements. It's a great trick for Scotty York because they would love to think he's about to go down. You know, that was not, no pun intended.
Yeah, right. You got to choose your words carefully when we're in this sort of discussion with all this video going.
But every time he was like, I'm going to go a little deeper. Didn't you think?
He waited till the last one. He waited till the last one.
Then he got caught in mid-stroke. You know, when I do the Dunbury delusion, I always kind of like, you have to kind of, like when you're starting the trick, you have to be like, all right, I'm going to find this card. You have to like amp it up just a little, just to create enough of that thing where the audience, like, you know, will buy into the dramatic reality that you could use a fall, right? You have to make sure you get a little more obnoxious, you know, for the fun of it. But, you know, he's got it locked and loaded.
I never realized that the fingerprint card trick was a variation, the presentational variation on the Dunbury delusion. I never made the connection before.
Well, I didn't remember that the fingerprint. I always forget. You know, I mean, that's one of these really old tricks that's been done this way. It's like when we're talking about the biddle trick between your palms and point of departure. The differences are so
so slight,
subtle that it's like, okay, so now you're doing the biddle trick with 3 cards instead of 5. Like, what? Do you want to base what you're calling it on the method or the effect? And it's like, sometimes it's like better if you just look at the structure stuff one way and the presentation stuff another way, because they mix and match so good, you know? What is it Kaufman used to say, that Mike Skinner had 500 tricks, but he only had 150 presentations?
Okay, that probably is totally the truth. Yeah, I can think that.
That probably was the fingerprint card trick. He certainly made the fingerprint card trick. But there's one more, isn't there? There's one more.
There's one more showpiece here. Yeah, this is a good one.
Let's watch that one.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Because I'm drunk.
All right. Years ago, when I was with the carnival, I met a girl called Lonnie. Reminds me a little of you, Michelle. Well, she was electric. Well, she was the electric lady, and her hair looked sort of like Michelle's.
Oh, is that the neg?
Oh, she was my first love.
Totally.
Lonnie was a shocking experience. Okay. Anyway, she was also a gypsy. She's also a gypsy, and she taught me a simple way to make a lie detector.
That's offensive, you know, to the Hungarians. Just saying. Who knew? Who knew? Scott, you're the only person I know whose post-nasal drip is offensive.
She actually used a gold chain with a crystal on it. But I've been experimenting around. Sometimes I can improvise. Okay? Now, Michelle number 2, would you take out one of my free samples? You'll like this. That's the universal symbol for pick a card. Okay. Take the magic marker. You know the rules. Name and phone number. Oh, okay.
It's at least a little drink.
You know the rules.
So Aaron, I can get away with this because
Yeah, I
I'm
wanna-
a kind old man. I'm a, you can get away with certain things when you're an older fella.
area code. Yeah, right, in your dreams, Oh, Michelle. Be honest, Michelle. Can you touch your elbows together behind your back? Go for it, go for it.
No.
Touch your elbow, come on, give it a try. Oh, that's close enough, Okay, we'll put a gold star on that card. Want to make sure I...
Nice.
Wow. Wowzers.
So dirty. It's a good thing he
Oh.
wasn't the anchor of a TV show.
Like the Today Show?
Any TV show, he would have,
Kind of
lost
smart
it.
for the job.
30 years later, he would have lost that job.
You first. Okay. Okay. Now here's the way this works, okay? You have a small rock or a stone about half as big as my fist? No? I guess not. I got a rock in my pocket. Ba, 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 ba. That's...
Hmm.
Where's all the
Big
D's? We're missing all the D's in chat. You guys are just like, you've just been D'd out in chat. You're like,
Everyone's-
that's not even worth it.
He's given us the D. He's given us the heavy D, and now we're all totally D'd.
Where's that
I've done-
from? West Side Story.
What's that?
I'm out.
Oh, you're out of drink.
I'm out of go-go juice.
That's...
Scotty.
Well, where's that from? West Side Story. I remember. Okay. That's about the right size, okay? It's going home to my refrigerator. Reached for a beer last night, got a Coca-Cola. That won't happen again. Okay, once I get the new bulb in. Okay, here's the way it's going to work. You have a clean man's pocket handkerchief? Man's clean pocket handkerchief?
Sure, I always
Yeah, right. I got one, don't worry. Well, here, shake it out and fluff it up. Inside humor. Okay. Have you done it? Okay, now here's what we're going to do. We'll cut the deck into 3 piles, okay? Now, obviously, Michelle, your card's on one of those piles. We're going to try and find out by making up this simple lie detector. We put the small rocker stone in the handkerchief. Hold this with your left hand, right about like that, and give it a little swing. John wanted me to check, see if she was a swinger. Okay. Just kidding, Michelle. Okay. Now, in order for me to tell whether or not you're lying or telling the truth, we'll have to have you make a simple statement, okay? What I want you to do is swing the rock over the piles one at a time, and as you do that, say, my card is not in this pile. I'll be able to tell by how it swings, so practice your line.
My card is not in
Right
this
there.
pile.
Get right down close.
Okay, ready? My card is not in this pile.
Looks like a true statement to me. Let's check it out. You did sign your name on the card. I don't see it. Now, I want you guys down the cheap seats to remember that just in case it doesn't work on the other 2 piles, it's already worked 33 1/3% of the time. Okay. All right, we'll try pile number 2. What do you say, Michelle?
My card.
Give it a try.
My card is not in this pile.
It's called show business. We're building up to the big finish. Another true statement. Well, must be in the last pile, but let's check it and make sure. Swing it over that pile. What do you say?
My card is not in this pile.
Those, I think the light bulb's lighting up. She must be telling a lie. Wait a minute. Now we got to find out which card it is. Okay, we'll start at the top and work down. Say my card is not on the top of that pile.
My card is
And swing it over the pile.
My card is not on the top of this pile.
Another lie. Wait a minute. What was the name of your card?
Michelle.
No, the name of the card. Michelle.
There you have it.
You want to do tricks? Go get your own bar. Ooh, baby, ooh, baby. You did that so well, Michelle. Going to give you that light bulb as a souvenir. Yes, I'd love to. Thank you for asking. I'll put my name and phone number on there. Da, 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 da. Notice I give the area code without asking. Let's have it for Michelle. And you can take the, no, I'll keep the card on second thought.
It's really a good trick.
Oh my God. You know, I kept waiting for him to do one of those Scotty York endings and crack that thing open like a nice Jewish wedding and produce that folded card, didn't you?
I missed it. What actually happened at the end with the light bulb?
It lit when it was near the card.
Okay, so the card didn't end up inside it or anything.
No.
Okay. All right. So the light bulb lit up. It was a lie detector trick.
Yeah, it's
The
great
play is
trick.
well on camera. I remember seeing it in person, and it really blew me away. Seeing him swing the, someone swing the thing over the cards, and I was like, "Whoa, how is that happening?"
I actually have to give it to Scotty. I have to commend him. He definitely could have gone way dirtier with that, and he chose to. It's like what you said earlier, Aaron. Like he doesn't want to draw away from the effect sometimes, right? So he knows when to kind of rein it in, but other than that, he doesn't really care.
No.
Sometimes.
Maybe he was instructed before he did that. Hey, Scotty, we could probably use this clip that we're shooting for the light bulb to sell this trick to the world at large. So keep it clean. That would be my guess.
I was told back in the 90s that the thing is Scotty had a great reputation for working in the early hours of the evening. And then as the evening wore on, he would occasionally have to be sent home.
Oh my.
As he would lose the thread, so to speak, of the process, But Scotty was a bachelor. He liked to go out drinking. He liked to be at the bar, and sometimes he wouldn't pace himself just right.
Scotty's really good. Sometimes he just goes too far some nights, and we have to send him home, and that's just the way it goes. That's crazy, man.
That's right.
Crazy.
Right, because that's not how it would be these days.
It's not how it would be these days, no.